How many of you have been to a farm before? My guess is probably most of you have. We live here in the valley, and there are lots of farms here, and you've probably been to one. Well, part of my family tree owns a farm, about 2,000 acres in Oklahoma. And among other things, they raise cattle, and sometimes the cows get sick. Now, my Uncle Kenny, he knows what to do when a cow gets sick. And back when I was, probably about 15 or 16 years old, I would go in the summertime and I would help out Uncle Kenny and my grandpa there on the farm. We'd bale hay or alfalfa, and every now and then I'd help out with the cows. But in the wintertime, I was back in school, and I lived in a different state at that time, and so this story happened actually while I was not there. One of the cows got sick, and they tried to treat it with medicine or whatnot, but one day when they came back out to the pasture, sure enough, the cow had died. Now, that's a sad thing if you have a favorite cow. I confess that most farmers don't get too attached to the cattle that they're raising, and this cow, though, presented a bit of a problem, not of sadness, but of what to do with it, because you see, this cow had died while drinking in a large pond. It was very muddy, and it was cold outside, but the mud in the water was still, underwater was still muddy. The cow had kind of fallen over into the water, half submerged, and its hooves apparently were stuck in the mud. Well, you can't leave a dead cow in a pond where other cows are drinking. It's not a good idea. And so Uncle Kenny said, well, I'll do what we normally do. I'll get a chain, and we'll wrap the chain around the legs of the cow, get the tractor, we'll pull it out, we'll get the forklift, and we'll take care of it. It didn't work out that way. Because when he tied that cow up together and began to pull it out, the tractor couldn't do it. That cow was stuck in that mud somehow, and it was a large cow. And so he said, well, I'll go get the bigger tractor. And they did, and they got a bigger chain, and they wrapped that around the legs of that cow. And by now, some farm hands are there, and they're starting to realize, you know what, this is a lot of weight. It's kind of stuck down there. We should probably be sure and stand out of the way of that chain just in case something goes wrong, in case something breaks, either on the cow or the chain, okay? And so they stood out to the side, maybe 3 or 4 feet away from the side there, and okay, pull on it. And they pulled, and the chain broke. Ting! And my Uncle Kenny was standing there. He thought he was out of the line of fire of that chain, and he was. The chain didn't hit him. The chain didn't hit anybody, in fact. But the leg of the cow, when that chain snapped, that one of the legs swung around of this dead cow, and it hit my Uncle Kenny in the leg, and it broke it. It broke my Uncle Kenny's leg. Now, it hurt a lot. If you've ever broken a bone, you know that your leg hurts when something like that happens. And, like this. And sure enough, they took him to the hospital, and he had the doctor take care of it, had to put it in the cast. And once the pain had subsided, people were sympathetic, but you know what people also did? They kind of laughed a little bit. They said, so, Kenny, what broke your leg? Cow. Was that cow alive? No. And for the longest time, people would joke with Uncle Kenny about the fact that he'd had his leg broken by a dead cow. Now, kids, here's the thing. Anybody, including my Uncle Kenny, who had been looking at that cow at that moment when they started to pull it out of that pond, they would have said, if somebody had said, is that cow risky? Could that cow hurt you? Well, probably most people would have said, no, everything looks fine. I mean, it's dead. How could it possibly hurt you? When the devil comes with a temptation, that's often how things look. It looks fine. I mean, what could possibly hurt you? The devil tempts you to say something wrong to your brother, say something wrong to your sister, maybe get in a fight, maybe be selfish about something. Maybe mom and dad tell you to do something, you just say, I don't want to do it. It's okay. I don't have to obey. And it looks like nothing could go wrong. But the devil's a liar. He doesn't tell the truth. And when the devil says something's going to be okay, it won't hurt you, he's not telling you the truth. I am so glad that we have the Bible that tells us in advance what is good and what is not, what will help us and what will hurt us. Stick close to your Bible, stick close to what God tells you to do, and remember to obey so that you don't get hurt by something that looks like a dead cow. You can go back to your couch now.